button. There we go. Alright, what is up, boys? It's your boy Bouncy here, but this time we're here with a guest, Weiss and Chill. Say hi to everyone.
Hello, hello.
Hey. Yeah, today we're going to be doing a tier list of set 3, the top decks that we've seen. A lot of it. There's a lot, actually. It's a very diverse meta, and I'm pretty excited about it. What about you, man?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, there are still some decks from set 2 that are still doing quite well. There's cards from set 3 that have brought back some older sets from set 1. And also there are just some really cool set 3 decks as well. So we've got 25 decks to go through. We're going to try and categorize them from S tier to D tier.
Yeah. S being top, and then D tier being like, I'll play it casually.
Yeah, I think the way that I'd put these tiers is S tier is if you're going to a tournament and you have the absolute dream of, like, you want to win this tournament and you want the best chances whatsoever. S tier is the absolute go for.
Exactly.
If you want to go with a deck that's got a very, very solid chance, A tier. A deck that's in the right matchups got a good chance, B tier. C tier is more your I'm here for Swiss to have fun, and just with some right matchup and a good bit of luck, we're gonna do well.
We're getting
and
there.
D tier, and D tier is we're here for a meme. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, like, hey man, I pulled up to my locals and then I brought this to test it out. Kind of
exactly. Yeah. So, and there are definitely some of those decks on here. I'll tell you that straight away.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Some of these that I haven't even seen yet. I haven't seen in action, or I haven't seen like the results of everything yet, like the Kiara Ina list. I have not seen that at all. So I'm wondering how it goes.
All of these decks I have either played myself or played against someone using it, plus then also using the fantastic spreadsheet that's been put together. I believe it's by P Tactician.
Okay.
Who actually I'm actually going to confirm that, and let's make sure we actually get the right person in. It was yes, it was Peter. Okay, yes. So so the spreadsheet made by P Tactician, basically going through all of the tournament decks that they're basically extracting the lists from X, and basically going, these decks have done really well. And if they've actually shared how many players it was against, that's how many players it was against. They've also shared whether they were XO decks or X1 decks or X2 decks. I've only really covered ones that have gone XO. And I've tried to cover as many as I can where we've able to confirm how many players they were against, i.e. if it's a small player tournament, maybe it's just got a bit lucky. If it's a big player tournament, there's a very good chance that actually it's a good deck.
Yes, for sure. If you could link me the Google Doc for that, then I'd put it down in the description so that everyone can take a look and see the lists for themselves, because of course we don't have the deck lists on us. It's just icons, and then, you know, obviously their main cards, the bangers, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like we said, we've got 25 decks here. There's a real good variety, and I think this actually shows again at what you mentioned earlier. No, with set 3 being released with Elite Spark, there are a couple of standout decks. However, overall, I think the meta is pretty balanced. Like A tier, B tier, I think we're going to discuss as we go through this video.
For sure.
Is pretty varied, but I think there will be a couple of decks that will go, ooh, these are actually pretty damn strong.
Yeah. All right, let's get started. First off, we're going left to right here. So we're going with the Suisei classic Chloe ramp with, you know, the second bloom. It's gotten a new upgrade in set 3 with the first bloom that can top check 4, grab any Suisei. And it also lets you move cheer as soon as you do its arts for 40 damage, move a cheer from it to another, which is incredibly powerful. It's one of the all-stars of that deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny enough as well, like, there's a reason why, not just because of Suisei tax, it's the only rare in set 3 that is not worth 50 yen. It's worth 120.
Yes, it's incredible.
It's the only non-50 yen rare. So there's a reason why that card is so good, and it's not just Suisei tax, I promise you.
Nope.
It's a really, really solid card.
I have played with it, proxied it with like IRL with my friends, and it's just it's a game changer, because now you can cook the Suisei at the back and still deal damage. Because what I felt like Suisei lacked the most was a little bit of chip damage she needed in order to actually KO her opponents.
I agree. And yeah, the new attack for 40 damage that does that, and again, it helps
40
you
is a lot.
move that cheer onto your second bloom or whatever it is you're doing. If you can get to second bloom Suiseis, like rotating with the new Suisei like in your center slot, and you're able to maybe get like a mic or two going, and you're able to really like cycle those cheers along with the Chloe as well. It's just a really solid combo if you can get it off. It's got quite a lot of moving pieces though, which makes it quite a complex deck to play correctly.
It is.
And also the Suisei Oshi is infamously known for being a difficult Oshi to play with how complex it is and when to use the Oshi skill, when to use the SP Oshi skill.
Exactly. Timing and all that, like the rulings for her timing are incredibly weird as well. So you need to learn a lot of that as well. Like one thing I do note, if you are playing the mic variant, watch out for the number of cheers in your deck, because you can run out. You will run out, and as soon as you've run out, you actually have no way of playing the game.
Yeah, like the only downside to this deck at the moment in time is that there isn't a card that really and realistically and easily gets you cheers back into your cheer deck or from the archive to your holomems.
Yeah, unlike
the only card
Okayu.
that does that is Encore, and we all know how we feel about that card.
It's a 50-50 flip in my opinion. I've tried it. It's come up once or twice, but I'd say maybe run one if you really want to try it out. But yeah, it feels weird.
So where we want to put this?
For me personally, I'm a Suisei player, so I'm a little bit biased.
Sure. Like my initial reaction would be like a solid A.
I think so. A solid A plus. Kind of.
Yeah, it's not. It's like the top end of A. It's definitely not S, but again, with the right player and someone that knows the deck really well, it's an extremely strong contender, and it has got some good results in shop challenges and tournaments.
Yeah.
So I would easily put it as like a strong A.
For sure. One of the matchups I think you just need to watch out for is Polka. Polka, as soon as it gets going, you have no way of recovering, because you like playing against slower opponents.
You've also got to be wary of Toa.
And Toa. Oh yeah, Toa. Her SP Oshi skill is a detriment to all blue decks. So
yeah, basically.
All right.
Next, we've got, so it's Mono ASCII using the Pekora Oshi.
So
this was obviously a top performing deck with set 1.
It's incredible how it came from set 1 and now set 3. It's pretty cool. You know?
Yeah, and like unironically, not a lot changes with the deck. Like the actual holomems and stuff like that is still pretty similar, if not exactly the same from set 1. The only thing that's changed is your support lineup.
Exactly.
You've now got obviously more draw consistency. You've got more holomember accessibility in terms of you can run custom PC.
Oh yeah.
You can also get away with running retro PC. Obviously, you've also got access to not just Takadane, so you're an enemy, but you've also got access to callback, or whatever it's called, the one that basically puts a holomem into your opponent's collab zone.
Oh, Totsumachi. Yeah, Totsumachi is an incredible card. All these new support cards that we've gotten have just upgraded every single deck.
So with those in mind, and like I said, it does upgrade, and the thing to consider is, again, these supports are available to every deck.
Yes.
So whilst it has brought ASCII up, it's brought every deck up.
Exactly.
So we have to keep that relative. But again, for those that don't know the ASCII deck, the reason why you run the Pekora Oshi is because you are running mono green cheers. So the Nusagi
ability,
main Oshi skill.
Yeah.
When one of your holomems goes down, you can pay 2 holo power to return all of the green cheers attached to that holomem back to any of your holomem in any way that you like.
Yeah.
The cheer manipulation that you've got with that Oshi skill is ridiculous, and it's why you can see, obviously, in our list at the bottom here, we've got 3 Pekora Oshi decks, and one of them doesn't even run a green holomem.
Yeah.
Which we'll cover that later, and I love that deck, which we'll cover. Obviously, we'll cover that one next.
Well, yeah.
But like ASCII, You've got the 2 different seconds where if you want to go aggro against blue, you go with the SD, the start deck second bloom. If you want to go aggro against white, you go with the booster set second bloom. It's got some real good options, and blue and white decks are still very much strong in the current meta.
Yeah. And Azuki has just been a great counter pick against that kind of meta since set 1. It fell off a little bit set 2 because of the introduction of a whole new meta there. But Azuki is still strong. It's one of the few decks that can get away with running 2 second blooms in the deck.
Absolutely. And the only thing, in my opinion, ironically, I love the Azuki deck. And the only thing that really brings it down, and again, we're going to cover this later, is that red is a really strong color in this current meta.
Yes.
Which it doesn't do a lot against red.
Yeah.
It just does its thing. It doesn't really like prioritize on the advantages it provides like it used to against Kanata, against Promise, against Suisei, even against Rainier.
Yeah. It also
and even then, Rain is green as well, so actually it doesn't do anything against Rain.
It actually doesn't. It hurts as well that most of your main damage is from the dice roll of the Azuki. So you need to roll a 1. It's a 1 out of 6 chance to get it. So it's actually pretty low to get maximum amount of damage with this deck.
And it's counterintuitive because you're running the Pekora Oshi, which her SB skill makes your dice roll 6s.
Yeah.
You want 1.
You want 1.
SB skill is literally useless in this deck.
Exactly.
So with that stuff in mind,
I'd say it's a solid B. A solid B plus.
I don't think it is, No? I'm going to actually downgrade. As much as I love this deck, I think it's a C.
Really?
Because the other decks in the meta feel that B slot better, in my opinion.
That is... yeah, I do think so. I think
it's a mid-tier C deck.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put it in C.
We'll put it in, again, we can, obviously, as we talk things through, we can go, actually, we're going to move this up. Or we can change things, but this is not set in stone until the end of the video.
We have 25 decks to go through.
Exactly.
We could change our mind.
Our next Pekora Oshi. Now, it's Pekora Oshi with Watame Chloe. Now, this was a deck I saw when I was just looking at Watame decks. I was like, I'm really curious as to what you can do with Watame. And I saw this list where it's running Watame with the Chloe Cheer Ramp engine, but the Pekora Oshi and running only 8 yellow and 12 green cheer. Now, the reason for that is so that you can really monopolize on the Nusagi Oshi skill. Also, the fact that Pekora is also a 6 life Oshi, which we didn't mention before, is really good.
Oh yeah, 6 life is a difference in this game.
It really, the extra life makes a massive difference.
Yeah.
Especially when you're not running buzzers in your deck as well. It just really helps you out. But not only that as well, with the Watame stuff, you've also got access to Watermate, which is a mascot, a fan, sorry. Which you attach to one of your Watames. And when the Watame goes down, you can choose up to 2 yellow cheer attached to it and reattach it to another Watame.
Yes.
And then you've got the second bloom as well, which has got the gift effect. When it goes down, you get to move one of the cheers on it to another Holomem as well. You've also got the Pekora that also saves your cheers when a Holomem goes down. The great thing about the Pekora Oshi is it hasn't got to be a green Holomem that goes down. It's any Holomem. But then it's only the green cheers.
It only cares about the color of the cheer.
Yeah. And then obviously with the second bloom Watame, if it's in your center stage, if you attack with it and it's got 6 cheers attached to it at least,
which is incredibly easy,
and your collab zone gain additional 100 power on its arts.
100 power
each. That's 200 power in one performance step. It's actually nuts, and it's consistent as well.
Yes,
the only
it's actually consistent.
I think one of the biggest downsides to it is that if you do not find your Bloom engine, I said getting from debut to first to second, if you do not find that, the deck really, really struggles.
It does.
And there's not much ways you can do to fix that. Yes, you can run custom PC. Yes, you can run amazing PC. And you are generating enough cheer to warrant using Amazing PC as well. But that's probably, and that's a limiter on the deck, and it's a really big limiter in my opinion. And it comes up more than you think as well from what I've played with it. Have you seen this deck before?
I know the theory behind it. I've seen the list of it, but I'm like, as soon as I saw Watame, the second bloom, I'm like, I think this will go well in a green deck. You know, I feel like this was supposed to be a green card, but instead they made it into a yellow card. You know?
Yeah, for sure. But it's yes, we were still on the Pekora decks. So yeah, I think the deck does really well, but it has to rely on a decent amount of luck because of the reliance on the blooming engine.
Yeah.
So I personally would put this high C.
High C?
Maybe low B. So I'm on the edge.
On average, I think we can go with low B. Just
low
for
B,
the
so
average.
I'll pop it into B for
That's
now.
what
And
I
if we
feel
decide to move it down, we can move it down.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm cool with that.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, Pekora. Pekora got a new buzz, which is very interesting. It actually supplements some of the damage that she needed badly compared to, you know.
Like you were heavily relying on the first bloom with Kitara.
Yes, Kitara.
The arts that was 50 plus, where you had to roll a die.
Yep.
And it added 10 times whatever you rolled.
Exactly.
So you could get up to 110. But it was on a really low HP Oshi.
Yeah.
Holomem.
It's like
it was only
110
HP.
around there, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas this Buzz Pekora is 230 HP. It does 80 plus, where it gains an additional 40 damage if you have used any Pekora roll dice effect. Whether that be your Oshi, whether that be your Holomem.
It has its own collab effect as well, which lets you roll the dice outright. So it's always almost online.
And you're also rolling a dice a lot anyway with Pekora, whether it be with your first blooms, whether it be with your collab, whether it be with your second bloom. So basically, it's a free cheer 120 damage attack.
Yeah.
And when you're running the idle Pekora, which is obviously your cheer ramp card,
the cheer ramp,
getting free cheers on this, you can do that by turn 2 very
so
quickly.
easy.
Like turn two is not difficult to get the Pekora live. Try and get it into the center, or again switch out into the collab zone to get that guaranteed dice roll. It's surprisingly strong in the aggro department.
It is.
I was pleasantly surprised when I first tried this deck out.
I've been playing Pekora in set 1 as well. Yes. It actually just needed this one buzz to make it work, because her own second bloom says she gets more damage based on the number of the results you get from 3 dice rolls, which is insane because it's base 60 plus 50 to blue, I think. No, to white? To white or blue?
Oh, to white, yeah, you're white.
Yeah. I remember playing her because I needed a counter to promise. So I played that.
Makes sense.
And oh my god, this deck can burst, deal a ton of burst damage all in one go. And now with the first buzz, it's actually very consistent. You just need to find the first buzz, which is the main problem.
Yeah, and again, you've got access to the likes of Amazing PC, which can get the buzz. But you have got access. Oh, is it Gorgeous PC?
I think it's Gorgeous PC, yeah. I used it.
It lets you get any buzz of the same name. Any Holomem with the same name.
Any Oshi, any Holomem with the same color as your Oshi.
That's right, yeah. So and it lets you get buzzes.
Yeah,
so
you just need
PC
to.
In this deck is actually kind of good.
Yeah, you just need to sack one Holo Power, which is
which is not ideal,
not a problem.
Because you do want the 2 Holo Power and the 3 Holo Power.
Yeah.
For the Oshi skill and SP Oshi skill, so it's not ideal, but it's a nice card to have in the deck as a
one of. I think
I am really struggling to find my Pekko buzz. I need to find it.
Yeah. I'd run it as a one-up.
Yeah, it's a good backup plan.
It is. Gorgeous PC. I'm not sure how to feel about the card at the moment, just because there are a ton of buzzes running around. It's just that, do you really want to sacrifice one Holo Power? Maybe in Louis in Chloe Louis,
Yeah,
but
Chloe Louis maybe even in anything that runs the Sorta Oshi, because you're
yeah,
not using a lot of holo power. Same with
yeah,
any decks that use any birthday promos.
exactly.
It's not a bad card for that. But for the others, you're wanting 2 or 3 holo power for your skills.
At all
So it
times.
makes it difficult, and obviously it is a difficult card to put into this deck. I think I run it as a 1x as a precaution, or maybe a 2x as a precaution.
Yeah,
But if I see it and I don't need it, I will just not use it. I'll just hold it in hand.
exactly. It's something to just manage on away, essentially.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Yeah.
So based on that, I think this is better than the Watame Chloe build.
I think so too.
But I don't think it goes to A. It's not there for A.
I don't think so. There's just
So I would put this ahead of
Yeah.
the previous list.
because again, like if you don't see your buzz, then you kind of are lacking damage in this deck. Is the one thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
Let's move on to Marine. So the first list we've got, which is a list which is again been slightly improved by set 3, but not a lot.
Not a lot.
But it's mainly a set 2 deck, is Marine Peko.
Yep. My main deck in set 2. Marine, much like Suisei, cares about the stacks underneath. So she does a bunch of different effects based on the second bloom, at least, based on the number of stacks underneath her. And then for her SP Oshi skill, she deals damage equal to the number of 50 equal to the number of stacks. So if you have 3 stacks underneath your second blue Marine, you'll deal 150 damage, which is incredible. 150 is a lot of damage.
It is. And getting
yeah,
cards stacked under Marine is not difficult, because you've got the first blue Marine that just on play, search a Marine.
Yep.
Any Marine. So you just cycle that until you find your second, until you're ready to go into your second Marine.
Exactly.
And that's exactly how the deck works, and we'll talk about this. Well, we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next profile as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that the cheer ramp does help.
It helps out a lot. It does.
But the only thing it obviously in running the cheer ramp, it does reduce your consistency of your Marine engine. So it's a win-lose situation. But it is a solid deck, and we are seeing decks come around that are performing quite well. As you can see, we've got 3 Marine decks in our list.
Exactly.
But I guess we might as well, whilst we're here, let's talk about the other decks as well.
Sure.
Because they're similar decks. They're very, very similar lists. They're just running a slightly different sub-engine. So the second one of the Marine list is just Mono Marine.
Pure Marine.
We are solely focusing on the Marine engine, which is really nice. And the third deck basically runs a Iroha bodyguard just to help like keep your second
bloom in the center
alive.
Yeah, it has the same premise as like Suisei Iroha back in the day, where you just want to keep that Marine second alive for as long as possible to deal as much damage as possible. You know,
and I think comparing it to Suisei Iroha is very good. I think it's better than Suisei Iroha because obviously Suisei second does the best amount of work when it's in its collab zone. So you're collabing with it to gain that cheer back. Whereas Marine is more than happy to sit in the center.
Exactly, and it wants to be in the center because of her SP Oshi skill.
Exactly. So how do we order these 3? What do you think is more important, the cheer ramp, the protection of the second of center, or the pure Marine engine? What do you think?
I tried the pure Marine engine. The only problem the pure Marine engine has for me is that unlike the cheer ramp one, I can't have 2 second blooms in the front attack at the same time. With the cheer ramp, it has that option because unlike Suisei, which deals 180 damage with only a 2 stack, Marine actually needs a 3 stack underneath her to deal 140. Exactly. It's actually very hard to justify that much damage. So for me, I like having the 2 first blooms so that I can KO any second like first buzz, or maybe a Reine with a Tatang on it. Because plus 30 HP is no laughing matter.
No, absolutely not.
It's insane that it's that much. It's basically saying, "Oh, prevent 30 damage." So I feel like I like the cheer ramp more than the other variants.
Okay, so I agree with you. Actually, I totally agree with you. And ironically, I'd probably also put the Iraha variant above the mono variant.
Yeah, yeah,
Just again, that ability to protect your center slot is really valuable.
yeah,
Especially when you want that Marine second in your center slot. You want it to stay there as long as physically possible, and the
Yep.
Iraha allows for that.
and the Iroha is 120 HP, so they need to
Exactly,
deal
whereas
120 damage.
Yeah, the only downside to the Pekko, obviously, she's only 90 HP.
Yep.
So she is kind of squishy.
But that works out sometimes in your favor because you put her up front. It's 90 HP to ramp 1, essentially.
Exactly. And you're still doing, what, 20 damage with her from 20 or 30?
20 damage. More than good enough. Marion has ways of just poking a lot.
Yeah.
Like, her second bloom has a way to poke. She has the debut on collab, poke 20. She has a lot of those, so it's actually not bad.
No, I agree. So the question is then, what tier do we put this?
I would say a little bit below Suisei. Just because Suisei will body Marine, just because of the red hate it has.
I agree in the fact that I think that the tier ramp variant is a low tier A,
Mm-hmm.
and the other two are tier B.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I think we put this here, and then think, now, do we put this before Pekko or after Pekko? I think after Pekko.
I think
Watame.
so. I think so.
And then I also think this goes ahead of Watame.
For sure.
But I again, as a like with the aggro decks, like Pekka is a good aggro deck. It's not the best aggro deck in the format. It's like third best maybe.
Yeah.
But it is.
But it's there.
Aggro decks are just scary, and if you can't set up, the aggro deck just goes nah.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Like Polka's very scary if it gets the perfect opening hand.
Right. Next. So of course we have to talk about it. Kanata.
Yeah, the big bad, the the Demon King, of set 1, set 2. So Kanata is insane. Her second bloom deals the most damage and does the most damage to your life points. Basically, what it does, if her arts does 50 more damage than your remaining HP. So let's say your your Hollow Member has 50 HP left, and then she deals 100 to it. If it sees that it's done 50 extra damage, you'll have to take 2 life. And that's not hard for Kanata to do, considering her once per turn is reduce the HP of the Hollow Mem in the center to 50, and her SP Oshi skill is plus 100 to a white Hollow Member, plus 50 if it's not. Which,
when you combine the Oshi with the second bloom, and again when you look at like when you're swinging into Buzz Hollow Mems, that's 3 life.
That is
1 KO.
That is so good.
And if you could deal with the collab as well, that's 4 as well.
Yeah,
that's 4 life in 1 turn.
Good luck. Is all I'm gonna say.
Now the other variant we've got, which we've seen come up a little bit, is the Chloe Cheer Ramp variant, which, ironically, now that the collab debut, Kanata is restricted to 1.
Yeah.
There is space to run a secondary engine, and the Chloe engine fits really well.
Yeah.
So, out of the 2, the only downside of running the Chloe variant is that you are sacrificing your other first blooms to do that, really.
Yeah.
So you are sacrificing some of maybe the idle mascot tutor. You're also sacrificing some of the on bloom deal
30 to 30 to center.
30 to center. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So you are sacrificing that potential extra damage, but the cheer ramp means that you can cycle your second blooms much easier. Yeah.
You can get to the 3 cheer requirement very easily. Chloe's also 110 HP, so you can just stall with her a little bit. She also deals 30 damage. 30 damage is a lot.
She is an alternate attack option if you want to. I still think the pure Kanata mode is better.
I think so too. Because pure Kanata has the same problem as the Pekko Watame build, where it's like if you don't see your firsts, you're actually kind of screwed. Not gonna lie, you don't have damage,
exactly.
you don't have ways to finish off your opponent, and they're just gonna pick you off one by one.
Yeah, agreed. So I mean, it's got to be S tier, right?
I
It's
think
got to
so.
be.
Even now,
So-
even in set 3, I see it like what 30% of the decks out there.
Yeah,
It's
agreed.
insane that it's still going strong.
And I still think the Chloe variant is still S tier because of the
Yeah.
Kanata.
Just because of the Kanata Oshi. Kanata Oshi is just
Yeah.
such a good generic leader.
100%, especially when you're running white. Like,
Exactly.
It's so good.
Oh man, I saw this Fubuki list with my buddy with Kanata Oshi. Oh my god, it's so strong.
Oh no. Right, next. So, next deck
yes.
is, I think, a new contender for potentially one of the best deck, if not the best deck in the format.
Yes, I agree.
And I definitely think that it is going to be subject to the next restriction list.
For sure. Which I hate having bans this early, but I mean
yeah, I think the card that needs to be hit in this deck is more than anything. I don't think it's even the buzz that needs hitting.
No, I don't think so.
It's the idol.
Yeah,
and the polka.
The one that can search for Zions. The fact that we have so many idle first blooms that can just search for fans is what makes the buzz actually deal that much damage.
Exactly. Obviously, I think the thing, and not only that as well, the fact that it's I put one cheer on it, so it's got access to its baton pass, which, bear in mind, Polka is, I believe, if I'm rightly, is only a single baton pass on the buzz.
Yes, it's a single baton pass.
And also Miko's baton passes are also really low.
Yeah.
So ranging from 0 to 1.
Yep.
Like its second bloom is only a 1 baton pass.
Which is insane for a second bloom.
And like when I put this list together, obviously Polka and Miko are the main 2 cards. But obviously you need a third fan what's the one I'm looking for? Fan friendly Holomem.
Yes.
And there are 2 ways you can go about it. You can either go into Kiara and use KFP, or you can go into Flare and use her, the Sharon Elf, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Elf Friend.
That's it, Elf
Yeah.
Friend, that's it.
Yeah.
So you can go in one of 2 ways. Obviously the Flare has the advantage of I believe it's another fan search for its own fan.
Yep.
The first bloom. Or you've got access to the Kiara, which in my opinion is the better fan for hand fixing.
Yes. Hand fixing.
The flare, you're only using it just to put it under there, similar to what you used to do with Pekora, using the spot Pekora and running the Nusagi army.
Yeah, essentially.
The Nusagi alliance even. So like the flare is similar, but obviously it gives you access to those fans much better.
Yeah.
But the KFP as something that actually works with your game plan is much better, because obviously you can play the KFP, you can discard your Zine, draw one, and then you bloom into your Buzz Polka, get that Zine back, attach the Zine. So basically you're just getting a free draw one.
It's so free,
fan, which then boosts your Buzz.
It's just draw 2, ditch 1, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So in my honest opinion, I think the Kiara engine is slightly better, because I think that deck's like, even you're still running 8 fan shooters. You're obviously running 4 of the Miko that lets you search for specifically Miko P.
Yep.
And you're obviously running 4 of the Pekora and the Polka
Zion search.
that literally lets you get any fan.
Yeah. Yes, any fan. That's what makes Polka very good, actually. I forgot about that. She can search for any fan.
Yes, and not only that as well. The fact it's the first bloom, which whilst its HP is not the greatest, I think it's only 110. But the fact that it has a 70 damage attack, long as you have a Zane attached to it, which is mostly what you're gonna do.
Honestly, it has no cost. Not gonna lie.
Exactly. Like, it's not really a downside. Let's be honest. Like, you've got enough ways of getting your fans as you need to anyway.
Yeah.
As well as hard drawing, as well as using obviously the Miko SP skill, which I love the Miko like the Oshi itself. Like one, you also got the Oshi skill where you roll a die. If you roll a 3 or a 5, return up to 2 Miko Ps from your archive to hand.
Yes.
Otherwise, just return 1.
Yes,
and then
yes.
its SP Oshi's skill, again, only for 2 holo power, is you may put as many cards as your hand into the bottom of your deck, and then you draw up to
that
5.
many.
You can
So
also
good.
do this with 0 cards in hand, just pay 2, draw 5.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So like you've got so much draw
so
power
good.
in this deck that you will usually find your fans anyway from your deck. So
that's why the
rely on
Kiara.
flair, I genuinely don't think you need.
Yeah, I think so too. Like the Kiara just feels a lot better. I like the draw ditch. It's always been there. Even in set 1, it's been there. So I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that as well, the idle Kiara as well is obviously on play, top 3. Add 1 holomem, ditch the rest.
Yes.
And if you hit a Zine or a Miko P in that top 3, it fuels your Oshi skill. It fuels your Zine, your
First
polka.
buzz. Yeah.
I just think the Kiara is better.
I do think so too. Yeah.
Now, so I think this one, obviously, we're also going to look at another Miko deck. It's actually a totally different engine. So we are going to discuss that differently. But this deck, the new fan deck,
it's definitely S tier. I've gone against it. It's so hard.
Above Kanata.
I don't think so, just because if Kanata can just sacrifice a few pawns in front and then just let her second cook in the back. And then she just deals, the 4 damage outright from killing 1 buzz.
But do we put it in between the 2 Kanatas, or do we put it after the Kanatas?
I think it's a lot better than the ramp Kanata, though.
I think so. I think it's more consistent than the ramp Kanata.
Yeah.
But the mono Kanata is still the big bad, like you said earlier.
Mono Kanata is just such a beast.
Okay, let's move into a actual more Miko focused deck.
Exactly.
Which is Miko Marine.
Yeah.
So again, you're using the Marine engine like we discussed. Obviously with the Marine decks, which is still a very good engine. But you are actually using the Miko properly in a sense, rather than using it as
damage. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than being your secondary, it is your primary.
It is. Yeah.
It's a really fun deck to play. And it synergizes really, really well.
Yeah, because Miko P's count as red cheer. So
exactly.
You do have the leeway to play your Marines and actually swing with it. But I feel like it's more of a bloom with it, salvage a Miko, right? Kind of deal. Kind of like the Reine Kobo Marine setup we had back in the day. But
exactly. And with this one, you don't rely your Marine to be in the center slot because you want your Miko in center for her gift effect, where if you've got a Miko P attached, on attack with any of its arts, you roll a die. If it's a 3 or 5, just deal an extra 50 damage for no cost.
50 damage. 50 damage is 50 damage.
Exactly. So like your Miko is definitely like your center stage, and then your Marine is your collabs.
Yeah.
Is the best way of playing this deck, I think. And obviously you've also got access to your collab debuts as well, Miko and Marine, if you want to use Marine as well.
Oh, yes. Even more.
You have got the option of doing some extra little poking with the collab Marine, or obviously you've got the collab Miko, which is obviously you roll a die. If it's a 3 or a 5, you always deal 10 special damage. And then if you roll a 3 or 5, you also draw 1.
Yeah.
It's a really, really solid card. And it's a really good early game collab if you can find it. So I feel this deck, you tend to run, you will run 4 ordinary PCs in this deck. You will probably actually lean into Mikorone as well a bit more, maybe 3 Mikorone alongside your 4 Nautica.
Yeah. You want to see those debuts as much as possible with this deck.
As quickly as possible.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. I would put this at, I don't think it's tier A.
I don't think so. I think it's maybe a little bit above Watame Peko.
Ironically, I would actually put this above Mono Marine.
Mono Marine. Okay.
I would put it behind Bodyguard variant, but I would put it above Marine.
I can see that, because I have played Miko. I played against it, and the way it suddenly just gets damage out of nowhere is just really good. It's an incredibly good effect. 50 damage is nothing. Like it's actually so much damage. Really, 50.
Yeah, and then even the fact that your first bloom shoot, obviously one, it gets your Miko Ps, and then secondly, if you have a Miko P attached to it, it does 60 damage for 2 cheer, which obviously
Oh my
is
God.
only 1 cheer
Yeah.
because you're attaching the Miko P.
Yeah,
Like, it's a really good early game damage output.
that is also
And the
true.
only downside to Miko P obviously is when the Holo Member's downed, your
opponent draws a
which
card.
is a bit of a downside, sure. But it's worth it for how quick you can damage ramp, like without being overly. It's not as aggro as Kanata, as Fan Deck, as Peck Order. It's not as aggro as those, but
it gets
is
there.
a good mid-range deck.
I would say, yeah, mid-range.
So I would personally put it here.
Mhm.
But do you think it should go after Marine?
I think so. I think it's fine like that because pure Marine takes a while to set up, especially without ramp. So unless your opponent can down your center and collab spots early enough, you're not getting enough cheer on your Marine to actually retaliate.
Whereas at least with this deck, you're still getting enough cheers on your Marine because your Mikos are focusing on using the Miko Ps.
Yes, exactly.
Like, you're not having to commit your cheers to your Mikos, you can commit them to your Marines quite easily.
Yeah, which is the fun part about, like, that's the one mechanic I really like about the HoloCG game, the fan cheer. That is an interesting mechanic because I don't think Pokemon has that.
No, not like that.
Right? Like, that is pretty cool. That's why I like that. That mechanic.
Okay. Right, let's move on to what is potentially also another big bad, in my opinion.
Yes, Botan.
Obviously, you've got 2 variants. You've got the pure Botan, and you've also got the Toa variant, focusing on like the shooter range, the shooter tag. The Botan itself is really, really strong. The Oshi itself, the fact you can just ping 100 damage when you want, when you need to, is great. Obviously, you've got access to the second bloom, which is just a really good damage output as well.
Yeah.
You've got access to decent cheer ramp with the first bloom Botan.
And the Oshi skill. The Oshi skill is generic. You don't even have to attach the cheer from archive to Botan. It's any holo member in the back row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I was curious about trying running this with the Peko Oshi, but the damage output of the SP Oshi skill and the extra stuff you get from the Botan is still is too good when you are actually running Botan and the shooter engine.
The Botan, at least second bloom right now, it requires the 100 damage from the SP Oshi skill. I've tested Botan a lot, and it's just so hard without that 100 extra damage.
Yeah, and obviously you've got access to the rifle tool, which is a really good tool.
Plus 10 to arts, plus 10 to special damage.
Yep, excellent, exactly. You've also got access to a gravity event. Obviously, you've got access to the FPS shooter stream, event, and the top 4 to add any shooter tag, which is what works in both obviously pure Botan and Toa. They both have the shooter tag, so it gives you access to those as well. I think this deck, I don't think it's as strong as fans.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's better than Kanata ramp variant.
Oh, you're putting it in S.
I think this is an S deck.
I haven't played enough games with Botan to determine her, her competitiveness, but I have seen the damage output with it, especially the ones that I've seen with like that one Lapis debut.
Yes,
that's insane. Actually, that one's pretty insane. I don't know. I think Botan's a hard deck to pilot because
yes, I agreed.
You
have to be a good player to play it properly.
Yeah, because she wants you to have cheer on the back row, kind of like having ammo in a gun and then reloading. That's basically how Botan plays. But in here, you just basically want to discard cheer at the back row and then shoot someone, right? It requires a lot of skill. That's why I think it might not be S, just because it requires a lot of
Sure.
games
That's the
to
thing.
be good.
With someone that can pilot the deck, assuming that when you look at these decks, realistically, it's going to be someone playing it who knows it very, very well, looking to win tournaments. And
True.
that's why
True.
I think it belongs in S tier.
Okay.
Because with the right player, the deck does very, very well.
Yeah. I think
And that's why I think it belongs either very top of A tier or just creeping into S.
I think so. I think that's fine. Creeping into
shall we
S is
say
fine.
top of A for now?
Yeah, top of A for now. Just because of the difficulty to pilot the deck is what hinders it from
Yeah.
lots of players topping with it, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Yes. Okay. Obviously the Toa variant, you've got access to the second Toa, which has got the break my art.
Yes. Yes.
Which one optimizes the use of you having a lot of backstage holomems.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's a good secondary second attacker.
Yes.
Which pure Botan doesn't have, because you are just basically going 1 second. If you can do 2 seconds, amazing. But it's usually
very
1
rare.
second and an alternate attacker, one of your first blooms.
Yes.
Whereas at least the Toa variant gives you a secondary damage output, which is really good.
Mm-hmm. And
the only reason why I would say that, actually, I think this is lesser than the other build is because that realistically, in pure Botan, you don't need a second attacker because you are doing so much damage with your main attack. The second attacker you are going is basically going into the obviously the collab zone or whatever one you haven't attacked.
Yeah.
Just to like whittle away, rather than trying to KO it. Because if you KO too quick, obviously it gives your opponent opportunity to cheer ramp by taking life.
Exactly.
Which you've got to be careful with.
The comeback mechanic in this game is pretty nice. Like.
Exactly. So whilst I think this deck is good, I don't think it's as good as the pure build.
I don't think so.
And I also don't think it's as good as Suisse Chloe.
I don't think so. Just because, again, having 2 second blooms means your slots are tight, meaning you have to sacrifice a few support cards just to fit it. So I think it might be below Suisse Chloe for sure.
Yeah. Do you think it's above Marine Peko?
That's hard to say. The one downside it has is it requires 2 different cheer, 2 different color cheer. So unless you have a generic ramper, which in Botan you do not have, I feel like most of the time the second bloom.
The first bloom a generic ramper.
The first bloom gets a cheer from archive and attaches it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So it's a generic ramp. It is providing that you've let some of your cheers go to archive.
Exactly. So it's a bit hard to do it, especially when second bloom Botan requires like 2 purple cheer. I mean second bloom Toa.
Toa. Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because realistically, your cheer split for this is probably going to be a 12-8 split.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna hit
12 green, 8 purple.
But then you cry when they down your Toa with 2 purple cheer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's not a lot you can do to recover from that.
Yeah.
Again, apart from hopefully spamming your first bloom Botans, which realistically you kind of want to do early-ish.
Exactly.
After you've taken 1, maybe 2 life, and not later.
Yeah.
So I think this actually goes below Marine just.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Just.
I think so.
I would put this here.
Just because of the SP Oshi skill of Botan, I think it does pump it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right.
Okay, moving on to a couple of Sora lists.
Yeah.
So Sora Oshis. The first one we're going to look at is Sora Robico.
Yeah, Gen 0. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the Gen 0 list and seeing that, Robico is just a really nice Gen 0 card that you can just plug in that goes with any Gen 0 card.
Yeah.
The synergy with Miko was not great. I did try it. Didn't work.
No.
The synergy with Suisse is okay.
It's only good into Reina, realistically.
Exactly. Agreed. I tried it with Sora, and I found it was the most consistent build,
Oh yeah.
and it's also the build that's actually been getting results in Japan.
Yes. Yes.
Not many results, but it is getting results.
Results are results, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a really cool build. Obviously, you're still relying on a very generic, in my opinion, the best generic Oshi in the game, from the first start deck, the Sora.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously, you've got the replacement Oshi skill for 1 holo power. Just move one of your cheers around, and then for 2 holo power, the SP Oshi skill is a on command Takedane.
Oh, that is amazing. That is one of the few like SP Oshi skills that's an actual game changer.
100%. Like I really like the Sora Oshi, and if there is a deck where I'm building and I'm like, well, there's not really an Oshi designed to work with this deck, I'll just slam Sora.
Yeah.
Like straight away.
Yeah.
Slam Sora, which is what you'll see in the next deck list, which will be a totally different list.
Exactly.
Even though it's running Sora Oshi. But coming back to Gen 0, with Sora and Roboco, I was also considering whether you could put in ASCII in here, obviously for the cheer ramp. And so the way that I was actually playing this build, and I think it's actually the correct way to play it, is you go ASCII. Well, you go Sora debut unlimited, and your ASCII on
collab
debut for cheer ramp.
Yeah.
And then you go into First Bloom Soras with maybe a couple of idle Soras for the potential on Bloom draw.
Yeah.
And then you go from either of the Soras or the Sora into your second Bloom Sora. And the second Bloom Sora is a really good card. I'll say it's collab, draw 2. And then it does quite a lot of. It's got the potential of doing a lot of damage with the correct dice rolls.
Exactly. Here we go with dice rolls again. Is the thing, right? Like. Oh my god, this game loves its dice rolls.
It really does.
Yeah, but
really does.
I do think that this deck's pretty good. I've seen it in action, and I highly rate it. It's one of the few decks that are like, how do you call it? Is just very efficient. You know, you have access to Ankimo. Roboco only requires 1 generic cheer, any cheer, really, to deal 70 damage.
And also can do more if your opponent has a lot of cheer on there.
Yes.
7 or more cheer.
Yeah, 7 or more cheer on the field. It doesn't even have to be on that one holo member on the field.
Exactly.
So
it's just anywhere, and like it's I think then does plus 70 for that.
Yes, so 140 damage for only 1 cheer. That's insane.
And it's got a decent health as well. It's like 190 health, I think,
around
as well,
there.
for a second bloom.
Yeah, and then you have the draws. You have like so many ways to just draw cards off of this deck. It's very
Obviously,
consistent.
You're running your generic supports. You're running you're running your Mikorone. You're also running your Nodokas.
Yep.
Mana-chans to fix your hand when you need to. So you're still running the standard support lines.
Yeah, and then you have that first bloom.
Extra draw on top of that.
Yep. First Bloom Sora, First Bloom Roboco, Top Deck 3, add a Gen 0. It's just a very consistent deck that can output a lot of damage. And then if you're not careful, the Takedane is gonna get you.
Yeah, 100%. And even then, you still run like a 1x call-in.
Exactly.
Just so you got the other option as well. You might also actually run a hard copy of Takedane as well.
For sure.
Like it is an option. Now, in terms of tiering this, I can't decide between B or C. Not A.
I do think it was. I'm also having the same trouble because it's like B or C, right? In terms of ease of access to getting this deck, you legit only have to get the Sora Azuki starter deck and then add a couple of cards. So it's very easy to build for beginners. It's a good beginner build if you do want to get into the game and want to learn how. This is probably one of the decks I'd recommend you to try out.
Yeah, I actually agree entirely there. Actually, like for I think ease of access shouldn't affect its tier rating.
Yeah,
but it is a really nice deck to pick up and basically look at taking your gameplay from learning how to play to, okay, I want to start mastering certain things.
Mhm.
I've already got this stuff. What can I add to make it stronger? Like, it's that intermediate deck, in my opinion. So it's
Yeah.
a relatively easy deck to pilot, but it requires a lot of luck.
It does. It does.
And it requires a fair bit of monitoring on your opponent's gameplay as well,
Mhm.
which is why it takes it that step from beginner to intermediate.
Mhm. I'd say high C,
ironically,
right?
I would say high C,
Yeah.
but ironically, I think it's better than Watame.
Really?
So
Okay.
what I'm actually going to do is, I agree high C. I think we should move Watame.
I do think so. Yeah. Yeah, I think
The
so.
more we've been putting things, again, this is why we're saying we can move things around. I think now that we've put this Sora in, I think it's stronger than this, but I don't think Sora is strong enough to be a
To be
deck.
no, I don't think so either. Just
It's
because
too luck reliant.
it is too luck reliant, too matchup reliant. Like I think the Roboco only ever comes up against like blue decks or Reina, just because blue
exactly.
wants to ramp a lot. So they're most likely gonna reach the threshold of 7 maybe, and then Reina will always meet that threshold.
Exactly. And like the one, ironically, the downside to Sora is that her advantage, the second bloom, is to red,
Yes.
which red doesn't really care about cheer.
Nope.
So ironically, it's kind of an anti-synergy, but it's good that it's an anti-synergy because it goes, okay, if you're running red, I'm gonna go Sora. If you're running cheer ramp, cool, I'll prioritize Roboco.
Yeah.
So you have that dual engine, or that dual option in the deck, which is really, really nice to deal with more matchups than just like focusing on one.
Exactly.
But it's not good enough whereby it can just play its game and do well regardless. Like Kanata, like the fan deck.
Yeah.
Like Botan. It can't just do its thing and still be good. It's very reliant on the matchup.
I do think so, yeah.
Cool.
All
the
right.
next deck then. ID1.
ID1. This is an interesting deck. Just because Risu, kind of like Reina, wants different colors attached to her. So she wants the green and blue cheer, which is why we have Muna there, and why we have Eofi.
Yes, absolutely.
Now I understand why they made Muna search for a green or blue cheer.
So obviously at first everyone was like, oh, it runs green and blue because you can run it with Pekora because of the top 4 for Pekora and Muna. And then obviously they've released the first bloom idol Risu, which then searches for a yellow or green. And then obviously the first bloom Eofi lets you put the top card of your cheer deck to a non-Eofi ID1.
Yes.
ID,
which any
is
ID.
Really cool. You've also got access to the second bloom Eofi, the collab.
Yeah.
Which one collab you get to replenish your cheers.
Oh, that is so busted.
Any of your IDs, and it still does 150 damage.
Oh
so
yeah.
Basically, your gameplay is your game plan is Risu in center, be able to switch out Eofis in your collab slots, and then basically you have got, in my opinion, this is the single most best deck for cheer ramp.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like you've got three first blooms that are all cheer ramping.
Exactly, and it's not that hard to hit them. You have the gravity for ID1. You have, what else is there? You have just so many supports really to just get it.
Yeah, you got the ID1. You've got custom PC to be able to switch your debuts into first blooms. You've got access to amazing PC because again you're cheer ramping so much. Amazing PC is fine.
Yeah, falling behind is not a term in this deck. It does not know about falling behind.
No, exactly. And not only that, even if you use like something like Amazing PC to get rid of your cheer, it's fine. Your Eofi second bloom just gets them back.
Exactly.
Your debut collab Eofi, if it's a green cheer you've got rid of, just gets it back.
Yeah, I didn't even consider Amazing Super PC because it's like I play a lot of decks that like having cheer on the board, so I don't really like negging on cheer. So this is actually the one deck that does not care about it.
Yeah, you can just rotate your cheers so easily. It's ridiculous. It's a surprisingly consistent deck.
Yeah.
The only downside to it is that it is a fair bit of work to get the maximum damage output.
Yes.
Like it's got a lot of conditions to make it happen.
Yes.
So, and again, because the Eofi has got the collab effect, unless you can get 2 of those cycling, you're not doing 300 damage every turn.
Nope.
And the second blooms, are quite squishy for second blooms.
Yeah,
only
they
190
are.
HP.
They are, especially
Which,
Muna.
when you see in second blooms at 200 plus,
Mm-hmm. It's
they are
rough.
squishy.
They are. They are. And it doesn't help that your Muna is literally just there to ramp. She only deals 10. Like, even her first bloom only deals 10.
Yeah. The advantage, though, is you have got access to the... Oh, no, so I'm thinking of Coronet. We'll come to next.
Yes.
But anyway, so... like I said, I think this is the best cheer ramp deck in the format right now.
Yeah.
And, again, the Sora Oshi, whilst you have got access to a Risu Oshi, of course you do, the Risu is kind of meh.
It is.
It only helps your Risu. It doesn't help anything else, really.
Yeah.
Whereas using the Sora Oshi, because you are running 3 different colored cheers, and you will be running them at equal splits. So the way that I build it is it's 7 yellow, 7 green, 6 blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the blue is like the green and the yellow. Obviously, the Risu requires yellow. The Eofi requires green. The only Muna that requires blue is
the Buzz
debut.
and the debut.
And the Buzz. Well, ironically, I don't run the Buzz in my build.
Yeah.
I don't even bother with the Buzz. So it means that I can run less blue, or have the other 2 as priority. And realistically, your blue is going to be, okay, I've got my green, got my yellow, we're touching up blue.
Yeah.
And that's where the first Buzz Muna comes in.
And then you just put it onto Risu. And then you're good.
And then worst comes to worst. Again, obviously the Risu on Bloom allows you to move a cheer. You've also got access to the replacement Oshi skill from the Sora, which is why I love the Oshi in this.
Yeah.
Because you're not using Holo Power.
Yep.
Like you're using very little Holo Power, should I say.
You're basically just sitting at 3 Holo Power and then you're good for the rest of the game.
Yeah, because and you don't even need to, like, there can then also be turns where you don't have to heavily commit on collabing and go, actually, if I collab here, you might get a double takedown.
Yep.
So I'm just going to not collab. You can afford to do that with this deck, which not many decks can.
Yeah.
And it's a big selling point of this deck as well, in my opinion. So it does require a bit higher level to play it, because there are certain things that, again, like collabing, you'd expect to do it every single turn. Like, it's a pretty standard thing to do in most decks. But in this deck, you actually need to know when it's correct to collab or not. Like, more so than other decks. And also you've got to control 3 different color cheers, which
at the same time,
equally distributed.
Yeah.
In terms of tier, I think it's better than Peko. I think it's worse than Botan. And I think it doesn't fit into tier A. It's the high tier B.
I do think so too. I was thinking of B. Definitely B for this one.
So I would put the ID1 deck here, just ahead of Peko.
No worries. All right, let's move on to your Oshi, or one of your favorite Oshis.
My Oshi.
Yeah.
Coronet.
Coronet.
My girl. I wish she was better. Like, she's a decent deck.
Yes.
And she's been performing quite well. She's a extremely good anti-meta deck. Like, she sort of does her thing and stops some of the more serious decks in the format from doing theirs.
Yeah.
But unless you get the right game, those meta decks will still just
roll you. Yeah, like Suisei most of the time will just, does not care about your 6 health, does not care about the 6 life. She can double kill, triple kill even if provided the right environment is there. The one thing that this deck does have though is the SP skill. The SP skill, I love it a lot. It allows you to restand or reactivate your rested holomem in the back so that you can collab with it again. That's an insane ability. I think
I agree. I love that effect.
Yeah.
Again, like, you can go, second coroner, back it comes. Back it comes in. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, what is this? When it pops off, it pops off.
Yeah, absolutely. But getting it to pop off is the hard thing.
Yeah.
And if you're against a deck that doesn't let you set up, you're screwed.
Yeah.
There is a lot of setup with Coronet.
It requires so much. You need to basically have all your debuts be first blooms already in order for it to actually work. Because if there's even one single debut there, it's not gonna it's not gonna help you. You need like maybe what 3 first blooms in the back to make this work.
Yeah. I think this deck, like, for a mono deck, I think it runs like 8 to 10 first because you need those first. It's so important.
It's crucial because the second bloom has a gift where if it's downed, you can move one of its cheer to another holo member, and then you can use her once per game, which allows you to grab something from the stack back to your hand and then move another cheer. So it has a great comeback mechanic. It's just that if you're caught off guard by a Suisei, that let's say, oh, I've decided to do this because the timing is, you will be down first, so you'll do your SP Oshi skill first, you'll do the gift first, and then Suisei is allowed to respond with her SP Oshi skill. So that's the one thing this deck is just not equipped to do.
I 100% agree. In terms of putting it in tier list, I would put it above Azuki.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as Watame.
Watame. Oh, in C, yes. I think.
Or do you think it's better than that?
Honestly, all the games I've seen, at least online, have been Korone versus Suisei, so I honestly can't be the judge of how well it does into other matchups.
The thing as well with Korone, it's quite a tough deck to pilot, and it's a tough deck to know how to set it up correctly.
Yeah. I guess in terms of that,
I think Sora is better because it's easier to play, and secondly, it's got that, like we said earlier, it's got that like double lane, like double option of how you want to play your game.
Yeah.
Whereas Korone is very much a one-trick dog.
Exactly.
She
I guess that makes sense. She wants to basically just restand her second bloom, collab with it again, and then swing again, right?
And the only reason I put it below Watame is that Watame's consistency is way better.
That is okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sure.
Just in terms of like your cheer consistency is so much better in Watame, which is why personally, even though I love Korone, she's my girl, she's got to go down here.
All right, you're the Korone player. I'll trust your judgment, man. Like
I love the deck. I love what it does, and I love the flavor of the deck. But it is a deck that you're playing that, with the right luck and the right matchups, it can do well.
For sure.
But you're playing it because you love Korone, and that's basically it.
I'm pretty sure my friend John, one of the guys I do gameplay videos with, will probably have a thing or two to say to me about this. But yeah, we'll go with this.
Right, let's move on to Toa. So we mentioned Toa a little bit, obviously in the Botan Toa build.
Yes.
Again, using the break my effect is really, really good. It's a really strong attack. It's got like the thing with Toa again, and we literally saw this. We had a gameplay video which I'm going to be putting on my channel some point soon. Against blue decks, Toa is terrifying.
Oh, dude, I do not want to meet a Toa deck in blue. I literally lost because I lost 2 cheer from your SP Oshi skill.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you've got 3 or 4 cheers and you need to keep them and you need to be able to archive them to do your things. Nah, get out of here.
Dang. Oh well.
It literally you get your Toa Oshi skill off, SP Oshi skill off against the blue player, and then it's like, okay.
Well,
guess do nothing.
It hurts so much, man. It actually hurts.
Stall for like 3 turns.
But yeah.
But it's definitely one of those specialist pick decks.
I think so.
Whilst blue and like, because even Botan, like, whilst it's getting a lot of shit in, even like Rainet, which we'll come to later, like the rainbow decks, even though they require a fair bit of cheer and a good like mix of cheers, that's basically the only decks that Toa does really well against. Those aren't the top performing decks.
Nope. Just because of how intensive the cheer requirements are for those decks, they're a bit slow, so they do lose out to these aggro decks like Kanata and Miko.
Agreed. And so even then, whilst the second Toa is a really good card, and the Toa support is pretty good, like BB is a really strong card.
Yes.
Again, Toa's ability to do well is so strongly based on its matchups.
Yes.
Which, at the moment in time, I would say that 60 to 70% of the matchups it will face don't help it.
No, especially against like Polka Miko. Polka Miko does not care.
Oh, it's an instant lose.
Yeah.
It's an instant lose against Miko Polka.
It does not care what deck you play.
Yeah, you're just going, oh, you want to get rid of my cheers? I ain't got cheers.
Well, have fun. Oh. I do like the design of Toa, though. It likes having songs in the back, and then that's how you get maximum damage out of her. I do want more of that from Bushiroad, because that seems cool, just having like an art deck, you know, a food deck, an animal ear deck, you know, kind of like that. That would be a pretty cool thing to do later on.
No, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So, in terms of where I put this, I think it's probably slightly better than Coronet.
Just because it can...
I don't think it's better than Watame. I'm not sure.
I think we'd have to play the two decks against each other and then figure it out from there, right?
Agreed. I think for now, I would put it between the Coronet and Watame.
Yeah. Above Coronet for sure. Just because it can deal with Suisei.
But based upon, we'll probably do a gameplay video at some point where we play these two decks against each other. And see how it goes. And that might change our mind down the line.
Yeah.
But for now, I think this is correct. Ironically, the more I see these stuff,
the Azuki is going to be D.
Pushed down to D.
Yeah, I feel like she has to be pushed down to D now.
I think its time is done for now until it gets more support.
Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't get support in set 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think Azuki is one of those cards one of those decks that obviously it came up in set 1. It still did things in set 2, and now with set 3 it's starting to teeter off because it hasn't got the extra support that it needs to really shine. It's so close, but not quite there.
It just needs something. I just don't know what. I don't play Azuki.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe another like a more consistent cheer ramp engine.
Maybe
would be nice.
Because a lot of it's based on dice roll to get your cheer back from archive.
Obviously you can use the Azuki Oshi, but it's so expensive to use her Oshi skills, and because you're so reliant on if you had a decent cheer ramp in Azuki, you could actually use the Azuki Oshi. Yeah,
you could.
But whilst you haven't got that, you have to rely on the Pekko's Nusagi's Oshi skill. So until it gets that extra cheer ramp in Azuki, I think it sits where it is now. I think we have to move it down to D.
I think so.
I think it's one of those decks that you might choose to play Azuki if you got it in set 1 and you haven't really committed to set 2, set 3.
Yeah, essentially. Like if you're trying out the game, buy the starter deck, build Azuki, and then you're basically done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, next. So this is an interesting list, which I played against once, and I think the gameplay is actually up on YouTube already now, on my channel, and it does things. And
it does things.
Is really nice. So it's Ina Kiara. So the idea behind the deck is that you're using your Kiaras to basically fuel your archive, using this new set 3 Kiara to basically just get Kiaras out of your deck into your archive. Also using your Idol First Bloom as well from set 1, and then basically getting into your Ina, where
First
so
Buzz,
it does,
I had it pulled up. Let me.
I think it's 70. It's 70 base, if I remember rightly.
I think so.
And then it's if you have 5 or more myth cards in your archive, after this, once you've done the art, you can move a cheer this to another one of your holograms. And then if you have 10 or more myth, it gains an additional 50 damage to the 120.
It's base 60, and then it only requires 2 purple cheer.
Yes, base 60 plus 50, that's right.
It also has the maximum amount of HP in this game, 250.
Yeah, it's 250. Yes. So it's extremely like the first blooms are like 180 or 170.
Yes.
It's really strong. And then yeah, the Buzz is the highest HP card in the game.
Yep.
So it's a pain to get rid of.
It takes a while. It takes a while.
And its consistency is pretty good. Again, being a Buzz means that you can basically start doing this. If you can get your Kiara engine off really, really early, you can get Ina going by turn 3, probably.
Yeah.
Like turn 3, turn 4. And pretty consistently you can do that as well.
Yep.
The only downside to it is that its damage output is not great.
No, it's looking to just KO first blooms, and then that's it.
Yeah, exactly. If your opponent sets up,
yeah,
then you're gonna struggle.
Yeah, I think this is the one deck where it probably wants to see the switch event more often than not. You know.
And ironically, the Kiara Oshi on this is really good in the sense of obviously you can just return a Holomem from your archive. You're not really using the SP Oshi skill really, unless you end up having to put a Kiara in the front row, and then you can just basically save yourself taking a life and get a pseudo 6th life, which is kind of nice.
Or if you're at 2 HP and your Ina's about to go down.
Exactly. No, because it doesn't work with Ina. It has to be a red Holomem.
Oh, is it? I did not know
that. It doesn't work with Ina.
That's rough.
Obviously, relying on the Ina means that you are constantly putting out a Buzz in your front row, which makes you very susceptible to dying very quick.
Yeah.
Even though she's got such a beefy HP, I think like the key thing with the Kiara Oshi is that it lets you return any Holomem. So if your Ina does go down, you just get it back.
Yeah.
And you don't care.
And it's like, 2 cheer.
That's the great thing of Ina.
Yeah. That is the good
great thing of the Kiara Oshi, should I say, the Oshi skill.
I think the I'm not sure. Not sure yet. I'll have to see this more in action. I'll watch your gameplay sometime.
Yeah, I think this is a deck that you play to have fun and try something different. I don't think it's a deck that you play to bring.
No, I think it is a D.
I think this is a D tier, and I think it sits just above ASCII.
Okay, I think I can see that.
The only reason for that is because in the current meta, the ASCII doesn't do as much as it used to back in set 1.
No.
Because you're reliant on the colors of your opponent's decks. Which, there's still white decks, there's still Kanata, there's Suisei. But against Miko, against Botan, against Marine,
it does not care.
Against ID1, you're just not. Against even against Pekko, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah, its damage output just isn't there.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think this deck, because it's just so much more consistent than ASCII, and it requires so much less cheer management. It's a better deck consistency wise than ASCII, which is why I'd put it above it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so next we're going into another Watame deck, but this time it's mono Watame.
Yeah.
So you're not relying on the cheer engine push, and you're not relying on the green cheer with the Pekko. You are going pure Watame using the Watame Oshi to Watame Oshi, which is a very specialized Watame Oshi. You don't run that Watame Oshi unless you're running pure Watame, basically.
Exactly.
And again, you're still using obviously the second bloom Watame, which if it pops off is extremely strong.
Incredibly strong. It's just like if they ever introduce a way to ramp faster with Watame, I think it's gonna be BDIF for sure.
Its damage output is ridiculous. It really is. But its output potential, should I say?
Yeah.
Because you can easily do up to 400 damage in a turn. Probably.
Most likely.
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more.
It's wild. It's actually wild.
Watame's potential is just there, and that's why we're freaking out.
Now, the only thing I personally think that really holds this deck back is its ability to cheer ramp and its cheer consistency, which is what obviously the Chloe engine and the Pekora engine, the Oshi engine, helps fix that. But obviously, the advantage of going pure water mate is that you gain access to obviously your water mates are going to do a lot more. Also, your second bloom is going to do a lot more in terms of when it dies, it can give the cheers out. It also gives you access to running other first blooms. Also, you got the Junken Poi or the Tsuko Junken.
Yeah.
Effects just to do extra damage against red, which given that the fan deck is a good deck and you're still going to be dealing with Marines, getting the plus 30 to red can be beneficial. But it's not a card to really rely on.
No.
Obviously, you've got access to the Idol Watame, which is basically a ordinary PC on Bloom, which is really nice. But you've still got access to that in the Cheer Ramp variant. So it's a nice deck. I don't think it's as good as the variant we've already got in.
No,
I'm not even sure it even exists in C.
No, it's the requirement to have 6 cheer essentially on it is a lot to ask for, especially when she personally doesn't have ramp.
Agreed. Until Watame gets her own ramp engine, this is gonna struggle.
Yeah, because
so based on that, I think it belongs in D.
Yep.
The question is where in D?
That's a nice question, actually.
Does it go top of D, above Ina Kiara?
Or
does it go after Ina Kiara purely because the requirements to play Ina Kiara is not as hard?
I think it's a tough call because Ina cannot one-shot Watame right away is the main thing.
Agreed.
And if Watame can just sit on a second bloom just to sack it to the Ina, and then just be like, oh, hey, I have 6 cheer on this second bloom in the back now. I'll start using it. I feel like it might be a bit better than Kiara. Ina.
Okay, I'm with you on that. That's fair. No, you sold me. So I agree D tier, but it's going to be the top of D.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
I think my internet's getting a bit wonky. Let me just... Okay, it's a lot better now.
Awesome. Right. Next deck. So this is obviously, in my opinion, one of the big bads of set 2 meta.
Yeah, and a surprising deck, not gonna lie. When I saw the deck list, I was like, what? How does this deck work?
So you got 2 variants. Obviously, the deck that everyone would know from set 2 is obviously the 5-color Reina Iofi, which has now been upgraded to 6-color. Now we've got access to yellow.
Yep.
And then the other variant is actually running the Kobo Oshi, for the extra life, and running it alongside Marine, where it's interesting to say the least. So the difference between the 2 builds is in the Reina Iofi build, you will probably go 10 green and then 2 of the other 5 colors.
Yes.
In Reina Marine, you could also do that, but I personally believe it's better going 8 green, 4 red, and then 2 of the others.
Yeah. I've seen a lot do that.
Your red's a bit easier. Just
in case you do want to swing with Marine, as an emergency measure.
Exactly. And the fact is, obviously, at the end of the day, when you're running only 2 copies of a color cheer, if they're both stuck in your life, you're screwed.
You are. You are so
if you
screwed.
Potentially want them. So I would personally, because you are actually running Marine as a secondary, I would just increase the red cheer count just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just for the chance.
Prioritize your greens for your Rainas, obviously. Because Raina needs
2 green.
1 green, if I remember rightly.
2 green and then 2 generic. She requires
2 green,
4.
2 generic. I thought it was 1 green.
I believe so. Let me just double check to make sure. But it was 2 green. Okay, I was wrong. 1 green, 3 any color.
Is it 1 green?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so
yes.
I knew it was 4 cheer, but I thought it was only 1 green.
I thought it was 2.
So yeah, like we've seen these rainbow decks. Obviously, it was very strong with just 5 colors. It's now got access to 6.
Oh my god!
The Reina second bloom can do up to 220 damage in 1 swing.
270 to white.
Ironically, is not too difficult to do either.
It is not. It is not.
Like,
even with the marine variant.
Yeah, like getting 4 colors, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Getting 5 to 6 obviously requires a bit more setup, but it's not impossible.
It is not.
With the Rainier support, with the Bloom, the cheer ramp, it's really, really strong.
Yeah. And then, not to mention the Kobo Oshi as well. Like,
exactly,
letting you grab
just to
like what,
just bring
2
5 cheers back from your archive is nuts. And the fact it's 6 life as well. Again, that
6 life matters.
5 life to 6 life is a big difference.
Yeah, it matters a lot.
So, ironically, out of the 2, personally, I prefer Rain and Marine. Purely because the Kobo Oshi is nice, and also the Marine as a secondary. Oh, I'm just going to poke a bit more.
Yep.
And also, oh, by the way, alternate attacker.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Not to forget, when you bloom with Marine, she grabs any holo mem from the archive. Any holo mem, doesn't matter.
Exactly. So it's really, really good. So where do I put this? I think Rainbow still belongs above Botan.
I think so too. Yeah.
Does Rainbow squeeze into S? I think not.
I don't think so.
It's now just top of A.
I think it's top of A for sure. Just because I've played against John, which he plays this deck a lot, with just Suisei, and I've managed to just beat him 3-0 with Suisei. Because with Suisei, I can just pick off any of the, like, let's say there's 3 different colored cheer at the back. I'll just pick that off, right?
Yeah,
so it
which I
loses.
That's a very matchup dependent thing.
Yeah.
I think overall Rainbow has got a better matchup in general. It's going to do its game plan in most other decks. If it comes up against Suisei, it's kind of unfortunate.
It's unfortunate.
It's probably its worst matchup.
Thing is, there's a lot of Hoshiomis playing this game. Well. That and Toa, yes. Toa might be a nightmare for this deck as well.
I agree. So I think, Rainbow, like with the Kobo and Marine, I think is top of tier A. The other build, I would actually put below Botan.
I think so too. Like, it doesn't.
Botan's consistency is really good, and the damage output is ridiculous.
It doesn't have a lot of bad matchups. Is the compared to like Reina Eofi has way more bad matchups compared to Botan. Yeah, exactly. The only thing that Reina Botan has against the Reina Marine is that I see them double attacking quite often. So if you have a Reina and Eofi in the back, and then you can just collab with that, it actually deals a lot of damage. So that's one thing, and it's very easy to double attack with this, as opposed to like Reina Marin, where sometimes you'll get lucky and get Marin to swing. You know.
Right. Okay, so we're now moving into a deck that sort of shined in set 2.
Yep.
So this is obviously Chloe Ilui.
Yep.
Basically the best deck for HoloX currently.
Yeah. Yeah.
I expect it will get some good updates and a more consistent build with set 4.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Coyote and Laplace.
Laplace here.
At the moment, as of the time of set 3, this is a extreme gamble deck.
It is just a degenerate deck where it's like, hey man, I want to feel that high. There's the gambler's high with this deck, and unfortunately we can't rate it that high. But it's one of those decks where it's like it has the Kanata clause, where if you flip into the same 3 level of holomem, so debut, first bloom, you know, your opponent takes 1 life. Like outright. You don't have to knock out their holo member. As soon as you flip into 3 of the same level, they'll take 1 life.
Yeah, exactly. So again, at the moment in time, Chloe is one of those decks that I think you're playing to have fun.
Yeah, and
I don't think
also
you're playing it to have a serious chance of winning an event right now.
unless
Not
you
with set
wanna, yeah, I think most of the time I feel like people play this deck as well just to commemorate Chloe, since she's graduated.
I actually agree with that for sure. So, ironically, for that reason, and again, it is just a fun deck to play that can randomly get results.
Yep.
Honestly, I put this below ASCII.
Below ASCII? Yeah,
I would put it at the very bottom here because ASCII, whilst it's very matchup dependent, it still can do its own thing to a degree because you're running the Pekawashi and you're able to maintain your cheers. This deck, if the high rolls do not work, you are screwed.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah. And it's also
there is nothing else to
it. there's a bit of skill in a different variant where they play the what's it called? The top check 4, look for a limited card.
Oh, the backup PC.
Yeah, backup PC. So there's a bit of skill involved in that where you basically stack the bottom of your deck so you know whether you're gonna hit with Chloe or not. So there's that. It's a weird variant, but the Chloe Louis is just a lot better.
Yeah, and I think the only reason you run Louis, like Louis is kind of like, maybe I'm wrong, but my understanding is Louis is like the secondary. And Louis is basically used to just give you access to more HoloX.
Yeah.
Without having to solely rely on Chloe.
Yep.
And it is a decent secondary as well. It gives you good draw input or like draw output. Obviously you can archive stuff to do more damage as well.
You can also salvage your Chloes that you need, so
exactly. So like it's really not terrible. It's just not good.
It's no, like I feel like it'll get bodied by most of the decks in C a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Unless it gets that high roll. I don't know if y'all watched that video, but my current channel with the Chloe gameplay, I managed to hit twice.
Yeah, I saw that. I was sitting there going, this guy, what?
Hey man, gamble.
Straight up. Right. Next deck we're going to talk about. So again, another deck that sort of reared its head occasionally during the set 2 meta doing WDP.
Yep.
Is the Xion deck, which obviously runs the Chloe ramp engine, probably the best
ramp engine right now.
Insert ramp engine in the game.
That
you can just insert into any deck. Like as a generic ramp engine. It's probably the best one in the game right now. And Xion was an incredibly good anti-meta deck.
Because of Reyna. Yeah,
because of Reyna. It dealt with Reyna, basically.
Yep.
And it controlled Reyna extremely well.
Yep.
Like Xion is first and foremost, it is a control deck.
It is a control deck.
It is all about taking cheers off your opponent's holomems. It's about locking them,
putting them into the center, and then KOing the center.
Exactly. And like it does have these matchups where it does extremely well. And again, because Reyna exists.
Yeah.
Now that there are other decks appearing in the top, it's not going to see as much.
No, especially with Polka Miko. It just loses outright to that deck 100% of the time, unfortunately.
Yep. And even Botan, it struggles, in my opinion.
Yes, I think so too.
And Suisse, it struggles as well at times.
Yeah.
So I think Xion is one of those. It's an anti-meta deck that if you get very lucky and you just basically face mostly Reyna, then
you're eating.
It does pretty good.
You're cooking. You're cooking. If all you see is Reyna.
Yeah, but now we've gone into set 3. There are now a lot more top tier decks. This is going to see significantly less play.
Yeah.
And significant less relevance.
Yep.
So I think this actually goes below Chloe.
I think so too, and it's unfortunate that we're probably not getting any more support from her.
course
due
not.
to her recent
With the
graduation. Yeah.
Yep.
I would have loved to see more.
It's a real shame.
Yeah. All
It'd
right.
be cool to see more and see what they do more with the control deck. But
I know, right? I would
now,
have loved to see it.
done.
All right. We have Lunite and Zeta, the tank.
Yes, the tank deck.
The tank.
I have not personally played this deck, but I've played against it twice, and oh my god, it's a pain.
It's salt-inducing. It is salt-inducing because it's all based on a die roll, whether you win or not.
Like, obviously, if you ever remember from the very first Bloom Cup,
yeah,
the deck that won that was Muna Zeta.
Yes,
because
yes.
Zeta high rolled all the freaking time. There was nothing you could do. And the same gameplay mechanic, like the gameplay ideology works in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
But worse than that, you've then got your Lunas, which then with their Lunites attached, you can just just do what Mume used to do and go, oh, I'm taking damage. No, I'm not.
No,
oh,
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah.
Like,
but this one really, prevents all that damage.
But another thing as well, those Lunites are relatively easy to cycle as well.
Oh yeah.
And when you're running the Luna Oshi, like once you hit that once you've collabed twice and got that 2 holo power, you instantly go into your SP Oshi skill, get your 4 Lunites out of your deck, filling your deck out, and also getting the cards that you want.
Yes.
Attach them straight to your Lunas, and just go hit me.
All right. 120 damage, no problem. You know, I'll block all of it.
Yeah, honestly, it's such a frustrating deck to play against. And with the right die rolls, you just cannot beat this deck.
Nope.
Like, it's actually, and it will just whittle you away. And then the second Luna is really strong. Like, if you've got the Lunite attached, it does 150. Like, you've got the first Bloom Luna, which obviously when it attacks, it does 20 damage, but then lets you get a Lunite back from your archive and attach it somewhere straight away.
Yeah.
So you can always go like collab with the Luna collab, which has also got a gift effect, which is if your center has a Lunite attached, it does an additional 20 damage.
Yeah.
So your second Lunas can do 170, which is really scary.
It is scary.
And then so you just go, oh, my Lunite, I had to detach it last turn. Oh no!
Oh no!
Fine. I'm going to attack with the gift Luna first. Get that Lunite back. Put it onto my center. Oh look! It's gone from 100 damage to 170. Hi.
Easy.
It's ridiculous. It's actually nuts. This deck is so surprisingly consistent.
Yeah.
And then with the extra value of the die roll of Zeta, just to help buff you,
it's a deck where
there's not lots you can do about this unless you rush. You have to rush this deck.
Yeah, you have to rush this deck down, or if you're a blue player, ping down the Zetas at the back, and then hope for the best. Because this deck is like either if you keep rolling bad, it's one of the decks where it's like, yo, dude, just get me down to 0, please. You know. Yeah, just as fast as possible. Please. Yeah.
And then all you hear in the background is nah. Shut up. Dude, you have Vietnam style flashbacks.
No, dude. She comes in with her Harley and it's like, oh dude, just stop. Run me over with that Harley, please.
Just driving past Luigi Deste.
Oh my god. Oh man.
Oh, honestly, it's such a fun deck to play against in a way.
Yeah.
It's just I'm doing everything I can, and I can't do crap.
Nope.
And you're sitting there going, what on earth do I do?
Nope.
The Lunite players sitting there going, Lunites.
I'll attach 4 more.
Honestly, it's so funny.
Oh my god.
Funny deck to play against. And it does its own thing pretty damn well.
It does. It does.
Where do I place this? That's the question.
That's a toughie. Because it relies on dice rolls a lot as well, just to prevent damage. But then you have the consistency of just getting 4 Lunites out of your deck, and now your deck's a whole lot more consistent because you took 4 cards out.
Yeah. And then you've also got access to the Oshi skill, which lets you just search for any PC.
Oh yeah. Oh, I completely forgot. Yes. Oh my god, searching for any PC is insane.
Yeah, you can just go, oh, I need my second Bloom. Cool, I'll get amazing PC.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got debuts, I need my first Bloom. Okay, I'll get a custom PC.
Exactly.
Like it's actually nuts.
I
you can run you can run obviously apart from your ordinary PCs, which you will still run probably as a 3 of in this deck.
Yeah.
You can run your other PCs as 1 of and just grab them when you need them. It's
Exactly.
ridiculous.
It's a very good deck.
Even access to retro PC, like your Zeta goes down, cool, retro PC, get it back.
Yep.
Let's go again.
Yep. We'll do it again.
Honestly, like it's surprisingly consistent. The only thing with it, again, it requires a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And once you lose your if you lose your Loonites really quickly, like if you do have to block a 120 damage swing,
yeah. Oh
getting
well.
those Loonites back is tough.
It is. It is.
You can only get 1, maybe 2 back a turn.
Yeah.
Like at most. So
and that's a lot slower.
Loonites, you if your Zeta doesn't work and you lose your Loonites, you're struggling because you're gonna lose the ability to really like keep yourself safe.
Yep. And you don't have that max damage output anymore. So it's like...
And the downside as well is that... So realistically, the way that you see the collab of this deck is that you would go 1 turn with Zeta, 1 turn with the first Bloom Luna, or double Zeta. Either or.
Either or.
Where basically you go, okay, the Zeta, protect, cool. Next turn, Zeta again. When Zeta misses, cool, okay, we'll go into the first Bloom Luna. We'll grab that Lunite back. Hope we still like maybe take another hit and then go, okay, Zeta again. Cool, okay, Zeta again. Like that's how you have to play it. It's quite a the understanding what to collab with in this deck is quite tough.
Yes. But that's what makes it fun.
Is really difficult.
Yeah. That's what makes it fun though.
Absolutely. Like that's it. Like that is it makes it a challenging deck to play, but in a fun way, not in a competitively complex way.
Yeah.
So I think this belongs in either low B or high C.
That's what I was thinking as well. Just because if you can high roll this deck, you high roll this deck. Yeah, so
well, that's what happened with Mona Zeta, right? Instead of like if you high roll amazingly.
Exactly.
Like
I think high C. I think high C for sure.
Yeah, I think it goes just above Sora.
Yeah.
I agree with that. With Gen 0. I actually agree with that. Okay, the final deck.
Bao Bao.
Bao Bao.
Now this deck... Yeah, Moko Janayo. This deck I thought was gonna be good. When I read that first Bloom Mokoko, I'm like,
the one that doesn't rest.
Yes, I'm like, that's insane. That is amazing, you know? And then after seeing the Oshi, I'm like, really? Come on, guys. Why?
Like ironically, I think the Oshi lets it down.
Yeah.
Like the Oshi is fine, and there are certain things where randomly it will just go, yeah, by the way, your back row gone. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like there are some times where it just goes off, but it doesn't really support the rest of the deck. It just does things. It doesn't support the deck.
No. They also missed out by making a by not making a Fuomoko card. You know, like the first Bloom Soraz.
They did.
Did they? Oh, dude, I do not remember that. I think I got it.
The second dual color deck.
Oh damn! I actually forgot because the deck was so underwhelming. Oh my god! You're right. They did. Oh my god! I don't know how I missed that.
They missed the opportunity. No, they didn't. The fuck?
Oh my god! Never mind. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Anyway, so this deck, if it pops off, is quite cool.
Yes.
The issue is, once your opponent knows how to play against Fuamoko, it struggles. Because all they've got to do is deal with that center Fuawa.
Yep.
And as soon as that's gone, the Mokoko's like, oh, okay, it's just a normal card.
Yeah. Especially if they don't have a Fuawa at the back.
Yeah, and then if you get Fuawa locked out, like you are so screwed.
Yep.
And that's happened to me many times when playing this deck, because I've gone against people that actually know how to play around Fuamoko, and there's nothing you can do about it really.
Nope.
Other than hope and try and get 2 buzzes out and just switch between the 2, which is what any normal deck would do.
Yeah.
It's a really, really fun deck to play. The flavor is amazing. I love the
I
flavor.
do love the
With the
flavor.
debut Fuwa and the Mokoko debut.
Yeah.
Where it's if you've got a Fuwa in center, you can use the Mokoko debut art for no cost.
Yeah. No cheer,
really, really
which
cool.
is pretty cool. Yeah.
The fact that the Mokoko has got no retreat cost means that you can obviously start with the Mokoko, finally find your Fuwa, play your Fuwa, do the free Baton Pass, then bring your Mokoko into the collab slot where it belongs. Like little synergies like that are really, really neat. Obviously, you have got the Fuwamoko First Bloom, the dual color, which is really nice, and it's actually a really good card as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
You've got access to a First Bloom Fuwa, which is quite nice as well. I can't remember exactly what it does, but I know there have been times where that card's come in clutch.
I believe it searches for
really
a
nice
Mokoko, no? Or is that the Mokoko that can search for a Fuwa?
I think it's the Fuwa that search for a Mokoko.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, I have it here. Fuwa First Bloom, if there's a Mokoko on stage, deal 20 to your opponent's center. Or one of their back. So it's basically just like Suisei with a choice.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And the Fuwa second's quite a nice card as well. It's not overly powerful, but again, there are situations where it just does things really, really well. You've obviously got access to the Ruffians mascot as well, which is quite nice. Where you can obviously when a Fuwa goes down, attach a blue cheer to a Fuwa or something like that. Is you can attach it to a Fuwa or Mokoko, and then when that Holomem goes down, you take a blue cheer from that Holomem and attach it to a Fuwa.
So the Ruffian fan, or
yeah.
So the Ruffian fan is when this is attached when it's downed. Send one blue cheer from archive to a Fuwa.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have the Excel sheet open.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you just have to have that Fuwa. So you are prioritizing your Fuwas in this deck, so you're probably running 7 debut, maybe 8 debut Fuwa, probably 5 Mokoko.
Yeah.
Like you are still you can like seeing your Fuwas first as obviously more consistently is more important. The Mokoko is obviously the support side of it. Like it's a really fun deck to play.
It is.
Again, once your opponent knows how to deal with it,
it's just over for you from there.
It's
unfortunately,
hard work.
Yeah. Even though I really love just going, hey, Mokoko, collab, hey, do it again, you know? That SpongeBob meme where, wanna see me do it again?
So in terms of tiering this, I think it belongs in C.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it belongs
probably low C. I feel like.
Yeah, I think it's above Coronet, and I think it's either just above Toa or below it, because Toa is extremely matchup dependent.
Yeah.
Mokoko isn't.
Yeah.
Mokoko can be played around easily enough.
Yeah. Also, the damage output for Mokoko is a little sus. In my opinion.
Yes, it's not great. Yeah, I agree. But the Toa deck only gets good damage output once you hit second bloom.
Yeah. Otherwise, it has no damage.
At least with the Mokoko, yes, like as long as you got that 4 in center, it's doing what 110 if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
50
so like around there.
So like it's got higher damage output early, providing you've got the setup. But its later damage output is not as good as Toa.
No.
I think because Fuwamoko just does its gameplay and isn't as heavily reliant on the matchup, I think it belongs above Toa.
Yeah, I can see that. The chip damage that Mokoko provides does make up for the damage output the second bloom does not have.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And that's everything.
That's it. It's an interesting list.
Yeah, I think actually like it shows that actually the meta, whilst those top tier decks will dominate, as we've already seen in the first 2 set metas.
Yep.
The tier A list
can get there.
Can do things against the S tier.
Yeah.
providing you get like if S tier do not get a good start, A tier can easily win.
For sure. Like every one of these decks from A plus, A and above can actually win a WGP. And we've seen it happen.
I 100% agree.
We've seen it happen.
Even B has a chance.
Oh yeah, B has a chance for sure.
Like, but S and A, 100%, I would expect those decks to be the majority of your top 16s in WGP.
Yeah. Unless they have the diversity rule.
Sorry, the majority of your winners, because the top 16 is based upon diversity rule.
Yeah. I didn't even know about what the diversity rule was until my Weiss Schwartz friends told me.
I knew about it obviously from the Weiss Schwartz. Obviously, I've Japanese and English Weiss Schwartz. So obviously I know of the diversity rule, and it's I don't like the diversity rule. It doesn't really truly show what the meta is.
No, it doesn't.
But it does encourage a diversity of plays, which I kind of get.
I get it.
You get your diversity top cut, you get your top 16 diversity, cool, and then your top tier decks from that diversity will still rock up and win.
It is, which is weird.
Like, it does it to a point, but then it's like, oh, cool, the top decks have got even easier wins.
Yeah,
nice.
You just basically all it does is just whoever's piloting these top decks is the best of the best among the top decks, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I think it does show that there is, whilst there are realistically two decks at the top. Obviously, I'll combine the canators for this this discussion. There are two decks at the top that, will just do very, very well. Either Kanata does well because of using the squeeze and doing Kanata things, or Polka Miko over aggro's Kanata.
Yeah,
like these are going to be the two decks that are going to appear on the top, and I reckon those two decks combined will, in terms of like your Swiss representation, I reckon will be anywhere between 30 to 50% of all decks played.
I think so. I think we'll see a lot of Kanata and Miko.
Kanata for WGP Chibe was 25% on its own.
I think so. Yeah, from what I remember, it was around there.
So I think with these two decks combined, I expect between 30 and 50.
30 and 50, yeah.
And then probably like the 25 to 30% after that will be your tier A. And then below that will be your decks that randomly might just pop up and do things, like being below. So like I always follow like the 80-20 rule, like it's something I do in data analysis a lot, where the top 20% of data. Sorry, no, the top 20% of raw data gives you 80% of the information.
Yeah.
So like your top 20% of the best different deck lists will give you the top 80% of your results.
Exactly.
Like that's how, like, that's just a rule of a law of data, basically. As such.
To anyone who studied statistics. Yeah,
exactly. Anyone that studies statistics will know of the 80-20 rule. So like, and I think that does fit with this. Like, the majority is going to be your Kanata and your fans
for sure.
And then you're going to see like 30 to like that's going to let's average it out to 40% being those two decks. The next 40% is going to be the next 6 decks.
Yep.
And then the remaining 20% will be the other decks.
Exactly.
That's what I think it will be. But it's also quite nice to see in those top 2 tiers, the SNA, that there is a really nice variety of Oshis.
It is.
Which means that we will probably get a more reliable view on things, even with the diversity rule, because the diversity rule being based on the Oshis.
Yeah.
Given that there are literally there are 8 different Oshis. 8 different Oshis in the top 9 in the top 2 tiers. 7 different Oshis.
7 because Botan repeats another one.
Yeah, you've got Kanata repeating and you've got Botan repeating.
Yeah.
So the fact you've got those, you've got 7 different Oshis in those top 2 tiers is nice.
Yeah.
And I think it will help the diversity rule side of things. In terms of actually still showing that these are going to be the top decks. Now that we've got more Oshis with set 3, so now we've got access to ignoring the cheer set, ignoring set 2 and beyond start deck Oshis. It
Yeah.
may be including Choco, because some people do still run that because it's a good generic purple one.
It is, yeah.
Including Sora and potentially even including Azuki from set 1, start deck set 1. And then basically saying, oh, your birthday Oshis, so
Also,
see Rain,
yeah.
You might see a yellow one, like you might see a Coronet, you might see a Risu, you know, just a generic yellow one. You might also potentially see a generic red one, like the Miko one or something. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you might. Like people want to show off that they got the merch, you know.
Exactly. But like, I think the majority of your diversity rule will be filled up with these. So even then, like in the top 16 cut, there is usually about 6 Oshis. Now that we're seeing 7 Oshis in just the top 2 tiers, like it's gonna be more representative of the actual meta.
Yeah.
But it's still not gonna give us a perfect picture. We've got to take that grain of salt because it is diversity rule. But I'll be interested to see with the next WGP happening in April in Tokyo.
Okay.
And also, there's the one in Nagoya in August. I'll be interested to see like how this reflects this. It'll be specifically not the Nagoya one, but it'll be specifically the Tokyo one. How that reflects against this tier list and how close we were to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, come Nagoya, we'll have set 4, which will mix things up even more.
Exactly. Because
who knows with set 4?
We've seen, at least I've seen what they've shown. The Lapless Oshi does. It's pretty cool, actually, from what I could translate.
Like, I was only able to see some of it. I wasn't able to zoom in enough to read what it said. But I know it's to do with like rolling 3 dice and supporting HoloX in that way.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty interesting
from the little hints that it gave on that slide.
It's pretty interesting.
If someone did manage to translate it, please put it in the comments because I want to know.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure it out and I couldn't.
Yeah. And also, once Tokyo comes out with its results, tell us how wrong we are about this list, you know?
Absolutely. At the same time as well, guys, what I'll do, obviously I've made this tier list. What I will do is I will give the link to Bouncy, where you guys can also submit your own tier lists.
Yeah.
Share it in the HoloLive OCG fan Discord server.
Oh yeah.
If you would like to, make sure you tag Bouncy and myself, because we want to see your lists.
Yeah, we want to see what you think, because obviously for me, I have some bias towards the decks I play, so I rate it a bit higher. And then yeah.
This has been a very long video.
It is. It's like
I think we've gone into a lot of
an hour long
detail and reasoning behind what we've done.
Yeah.
Oh, it's more than that. Sure. It's now 2 a.m. UK time. We started before midnight.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's 2.5 hours.
It's 2 hours exactly after.
There you go.
Like 15 seconds.
Oh no. But yeah, no. It's been really fun talking about this. Thank you for having me on, Bouncy. I think it's really cool to speak with someone who is knowledgeable on the game state, especially outside of Japan, because there aren't many HoloLive OCG content creators outside of Japan.
Yeah.
And you know, Bouncy is currently but a small boy, but he deserves more. So please subscribe to him. Like,
yes, please.
His content's really good. Like, genuinely check him out.
Yeah, I used to do Dragon Ball content.
HoloLive OCG content creators I actually watch.
Yeah. And same thing with Weiss and Chill, you know, like he's one of the few people I actually watch for HoloCG news.
I appreciate that. No,
yeah. I mean, I can't understand what the Japanese people are saying, right? So.
No, yeah, it's weird. Like, obviously, before this, I was doing just Weiss Schwartz content.
Yeah.
Now I've transitioned into doing HoloLive stuff. I say I still do Weiss Schwartz content. I've just been focused on HoloLive, to be honest. Massively as a result of covering HoloLive OCG.
Yeah.
And I want to share that with other people, especially content creators that I get on with and that I think are doing a really great job, which, you know, again, go check this guy out. He's pretty good.
Yes. Thank you. And then maybe one day we'll play at a WGP, you know?
Oh, imagine. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. My buddy got in. John. My buddy John got in.
What my dream is, and what my dream is, obviously, with BCSs happening, obviously, we've seen like Weiss Schwartz, Vanguard, Shadowverse Evolve take part of those. I very much hope the HoloLive OCG will as well.
I hope so.
And I'm basically putting myself in a position to try and be put on the commentating team for the World Finals.
Oh, good luck, good luck.
Commentator. I want this guy.
Oh, thanks.
Bring this guy to Japan with me. That'd be great.
Please, please. I don't mind not playing. If I can be there, that'd be great. I just love to meet Yago. That's it.
Oh man.
All right.
But yeah, that's everything.
That's it. All right. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe to the my channel and to Weiss and Chill's channel as well. All right, man. Peace out. Thank you. Bye.
Got it.